So I finally got it. I finally completed Castle Grayskull. When you want to get right down to it, aside from the big pack, the Spirit of Castle Grayskull pack, which is just too expensive for me right now, this is done. I've done it. I have battle chest here, where I got the rocks, and I got the He-Man and whatnot, and then over here I got the gate that plugs in when you got it all hooked up with the horse. And then, of course, here we are, Point Dread, Talon Fighter, right there. And there is a legit problem with it. The scale is wrong. It's wrong. This is your character. This is He-Man. This is what you designed the line from. Regardless of any arguments you want to make, if you make the line and you pick the star players of the line, He-Man and Skeletor, they set the standard of the line in terms of size and scale for the entire line. Which means that this character here should be able to work inside of Point Dread. And he can't. Look at all these computers and everything that are like all the way down there. Look at the controls down there. And if he's standing up, he can't even reach them. He needs some gorilla arms to actually reach down there and whatnot. So even if you were to make him sit, it would still be awkward. Like, say there was a chair here and he did sit down. You're still, do you see this? Like, his knees, like, it doesn't work. And there's another part to this as well. See, I said to myself, maybe the only part that really matters is that I get the Talon Fighter onto the castle and get it set up, and I put it down on here, and I make sure all the seams and everything are closed, and then He-Man is, what's that? What's that? He-Man's chest? What's that? How? He-Man's face? What's he doing? What's he doing? Oh, I can tell you what he's doing. He's banging his head on the wall. He's banging his head on the ceiling. That's what he's doing. His head is banging the ceiling because he's too big to fit this actual item. Now, I'm approaching this from an adult collector perspective. And you could argue that kids probably wouldn't care about the scale. But I would argue there's a high probability that kids would care. See, kids aren't stupid. Kids like the idea of big giant battle space. In fact, one of the things that toy lines have been sold on forever is as far as our lifetime, is that Star Wars understood that people were going to want the vehicles. So they chose a size and a scale that they could put the vehicles in. Then, even if the vehicles weren't perfect to scale, the character fit in the vehicle. That made it real. That opened up our imaginations and gave us Star Wars in a way we never expected. Then, later on, G.I. Joe said, here's a soldier man. Here's a fighter jet. The soldier man goes into the fighter jet. Awesome. The soldier men go into the tank. They go on the boat. They go in the raft. These are things that expand the line. They make it huge and grand and expansive and amazing. Because they open up your imagination to possibilities, because as soon as the figures fit inside of things, it's real. That's what sold the line. That's what made these things big and imaginative in ways that we really didn't fathom at the time. But we understood it. When we got a play feature on something and the character didn't fit in the thing where he was supposed to fit, when we were kids, that bothered us. So I would make the argument that they screwed this up. Now, I don't usually come on here and complain about toys. It's just not what I'm interested in doing. What am I doing, really? Like, what's it going to prove? And it's not going to prove anything, just to answer my own question. And that's not where I'm going with this. But I am saying that if you were going to release Point Dread, you needed to guarantee the scale of Point Dread. And I'm starting to see possibly why a lot of them did not sell. I saw a lot of them go on clearance, and I was curious as to why nobody was buying Point Dread. The scale is messed up. The Talon Fighter is perfect. 2 people fit in the Talon Fighter, and it's believable. Toy magic right there. Toy magic. If I was a kid, if I was playing He-Man, I would put both Teela and He-Man both in the Talon Fighter right now, and it would fly around. And then I'd fight with it. Choo, 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 and I'd blow up enemy ships or whatever. It'd be fantastic. Be everything I ever wanted. But if I want one of my guys to be able to like look out this window or stand up here, they can stand up here with the gun and there's nothing stopping them. And if I take this off, they can stand up here. But if I park the jet and somebody comes up here, they just bang their head on the ceiling. It stops them like right here. Doink! Oh, crap. And then they gotta like... Nobody, not even kids, want their hero, their barbarian fantasy hero, to go upstairs and then to be all cramped and have to like get down like and do like a duck walk over to the window to like see out and see the armies coming or something like that. And then like have to holler down to the other guys, guys, the armies, they're definitely out there or whatever. Like, nobody wants that. That's not cool. That's not exciting. That's not awesome. It doesn't inspire epic tales of fantasy, barbarian swords, and sorcery. That's not what that does. That makes us laugh because He-Man is hitting his head on the ceiling while he's trying to look out the window. They screwed up the size of this. Without a doubt, no doubt in my mind, they screwed up the scale. They screwed up the scale of Point Dread. And in so doing, screwed up the final piece, the crown of Castle Grayskull. That is kind of disappointing. Because now, if I take this apart and decide to use it as Point Dread, it doesn't work. Because it's so small that they bang their necks on the top of it. And if I try to use it as the top of Castle Grayskull, it doesn't work. It's too small. And they bang their heads trying to see out the window. So now I have Point Dread, which has the Talon Fighter, which is cool in its own right, but is also a disappointment, and now I have to figure out what I'm going to do with it. That's a shame.